going on, guys? Welcome to the NEWRICH podcast. I am your host. I go by the name of RS Plaza. And today we have a special guest in the building, man, all the way from Pittsburgh. Took a flight to be out here this morning, so I'm super grateful. Ankur, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm a little upset that now I'm identified as from Pittsburgh.
Right?
I don't know how comfortable I am with that label, but I guess I have to claim it.
So are you repping Pittsburgh? I know we talked about New Jersey. Which one are you going to like officially? Like I'm from New York, so.
I'm from New York too, man.
All right, but hold on. Are you from Pittsburgh, New York, Jersey? Let's set the record straight.
So listen, I tell all my nieces and nephews to call me New York uncle.
Oh,
right?
okay.
And I'm like the cool uncle compared to everyone else. So I'm gonna claim New York.
New York.
I'm gonna claim Queens.
Queens, New York at that.
LIC, if you actually know what I'm talking about.
All right, cool. Yeah, so I'm from New York as well too. Let's talk about that. What about New York? Like, do you like what about New York? The energy of New York.
I think there's something beautiful about chaos, and I find a lot of entertainment, drive, all of it in the chaos, right? So I mean, as from being from New York, you're gonna see that people just move a mile a minute.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then you
for
come
sure.
out to like the South, and it's a totally different pace.
Oh yeah, pace.
Nothing
slow down.
compares to New York. It's a city that, as soon as I see that skyline, I immediately have all these like memories from childhood and everything, and it's just great.
Right.
And I could go there at any point of the year, and I'm still in love with that city. Right?
Yeah.
I don't feel the same way about Pittsburgh. You know, you go there in like 3 feet of snow, and you're like, "What am I doing in Pittsburgh?"
You go to Manhattan though in 3 feet of snow. It's like,
all good.
Look at the lights, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. Let's take a step back, man. And I guess we'll talk about, let's talk about who you are, and then I guess we'll jump into how we got connected. But just give a little intro and let the people know who you are, what you stand for, and what you've been involved with. Just a little quick snapshot. So we know.
Sure, man. So real quick, my name is Ankur Garg. I have to put my middle initial in there because some cat from Bollywood registered AnkurGarg.com back in '92.
Okay.
And he would never let me buy it from him. So I had to find a way to brand myself differently. So
Added
my
the
middle
middle?
initial
All right.
had to go in. That's also my handle on all social media accounts.
All right.
But I guess if I had to define myself and make sure people know who I am, I'm a CPG strategy expert. So if people don't know what CPG is, it's anything that is related to products. Consumer packaged goods is essentially what it stands for. So all that stuff that you see at Costco, Whole Foods, anything you can buy off Amazon, the whole process of sourcing the materials to make that product, packaging it for consumer use, actually selling it to a distributor or direct to consumer, social media marketing, influencers, everything that has to go with that whole process, all the way to the shipping and logistics of getting it to the end user.
That's awesome. Super cool. Before I want to dive into that, and I want to kind of unfold that. But before we do that, I want to talk about how we met, and then we'll take it back into there just to show people like the power of connectivity and just, throwing it out there. So you kind of threw out a post, I believe, that was like, hey, if anybody owns a podcast, or what was the post that you put out?
Yeah, I was like, hey, I'm looking to get on as many podcasts as I can. If anyone out there has a referral for someone who's got their own show that has a good message, let me know.
Awesome.
Right.
Yeah. And then one of our good friends, a mutual friend, connected us. And I wanted to talk about that because I think it's important to understand and leverage like your network and relationships. So, and then I want to talk about something I admire is that, we connected, you made sure that it happened. And I know I was a little flaky at times answering back, and you're very persistent. We made it happen. But not only did we make it happen, you flew into town, right? And I think that there's a certain level of commitment. There's a certain level of professionalism. Like I blocked out a Saturday, to make sure that I picked you up from the airport. We made things right. Because I admire the commitment from your end. And I think that's a lesson for the listeners too, is like when you want something, you go out there, no matter what level you're at, right? Because, you're up there, you've had your successes that we'll talk about and you're doing well, but you're still out there, pushing the brand, connecting with guys like me that are cultivating a community with a message and getting involved. So I appreciate that, man. And
thanks, man.
And I think that says a lot to your character. Where does that, let's start there. Like, where does that side of you come from? Like that persistence, that hunger, some people don't understand that. Like, is it a learned habit? Is it, something that you cultivate over time? What is it?
Oh, you're going to love this answer. All right. So check this out. My parents worked double shifts a lot of their life, right? And because when they came from India, I was born in India.
Okay.
So I was 10 months. As soon as they could put me on a plane, they put me on a plane, brought me to America. My parents' degrees weren't worth anything when they got here. So my dad had to go back to school. My parents had to prioritize putting his education first, right? While my mom worked at like regular basic blue collar jobs. And I was kind of raised by television at certain aspects. Obviously, as an immigrant, ethnic, parents and all that, there's a lot of ethnic parent values that were given to me. But bro, Zach Morris.
That's funny.
Saved by the Bell.
That's funny.
Listen,
it's funny how like TV, like especially like when we come from other places, like we glorify TV. What we see on TV, that's almost reality. Yeah,
dude, Zach Morris could get away with anything.
Oh yeah,
literally. He there's just one episode, right, where he literally gets all of his female friends to do a bikini calendar, right? And just gets away with it, selling these calendars for cash.
I remember that episode. I remember that episode.
Or whatever it was.
It's like the Baywatch girl.
Another episode, he crashes his car, gets away with it, no problems. And learning how to have that persuasive voice to get people to want to follow you and like do all the things that you want to do was something at a young age I guess put on a pedestal. I was like, I need to learn this, right? So having studied all those episodes and learning, how he got out of situations, dealing with AC Slater, trying to get Kelly, lose Kelly, get Kelly again. I think that's where it all came from for me.
That's interesting, bro. I never looked at it that way. But that's super cool how you just kind of like, related and attached it to the story and the message. Where did and that's a skill within itself, right? Like, have you ever read 48 Laws of Power?
I haven't.
But like to me that kind of what that resonates, right? It's like very strategic, it's like there's a formula almost for persuasion and how to influence people that is really awesome. So it's cool that you kind of put a liking on that.
There's another book called The Art of Woo by Seth Godin.
Okay, I like Seth. We got a Seth book here.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
I mean, dude, the stuff written in that book changed my whole perception of like business negotiation, contracts, everything.
What is it? The Art of
Woo.
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 I gotta look into that and we'll go read that.
There's like all these stories about military generals and how they got their like soldiers to go to battle when like we all knew that it was gonna be the craziest battle, almost like a suicide mission, right? But I mean, there's just little things in there that people would do and generals would just know how to get people to show up for them.
Now, why do you think it's important to learn the art of getting people to follow you?
I mean, at the end of the day, if you have a vision and no one's going to follow your vision, you're never going to get anywhere on your journey. And at the end of the day, if there's people that follow you, you have a responsibility to them to get to the finish line too, right?
Yeah.
They hold you accountable just as much as you hold them accountable.
Yeah.
And I think it's also important that knowing how to communicate what you are actually trying to do is something that's just an art form.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Some people will be like, I want to start my own business, right? But then there's no like value or mission system for that company or the business or whatever they're trying to do. And I mean, if you don't know how to like articulate any of that, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah, that's so important. And I like that because I feel like when we're doing business and we're doing certain projects, there's more than what meets the surface, right? There's this sense of creativity. There's this sense of, building this cult following, building this community, if you will, to do it. Because I agree, you can have the dopest idea. You can have a great idea, but if you can't get people to buy in and put manpower behind that idea, it's going to take you a long time if you ever get
Seriously.
there. Now let's dive back into consumer good products, right? Give me an example of something that would be, and then how did you even get into that? Like,
yeah, for sure.
Because I like to give my listeners options too. Like, I think sometimes, growing up, it's like what we're exposed to. So what was the first product, and then how did you get into it?
Yeah, so I mean, my whole career started off with professional services, right? So marketing for like a restaurant or a dentist office or something like that. And my understanding of business was that you have people working these hours, right? 9 to 5, 9 to 9, whatever it is. And it's your job to fill every slot, right? Every opportunity to have someone sit in that dentist chair or every table at the restaurant or what have you. And at some point in my career, around 2010, I was introduced to one of my first business partners in CPG. His name is Arvin Lal. And he was looking to get a logo made and like a label designed for a fat burner product.
Okay.
Obviously, I didn't really believe too much into it. So I'm like, all right, cool. This is the price you're going to pay for me to spend some time putting this stuff together. But I remember in his first year of business in like 2011, 2012, I mean, he did like $8,000 in the entire year, right? I mean, he was struggling to get his this all figured out. But he asked me to help him kind of come up with like a social media strategy of how to kind of get this to grow. And I knew Black Friday was coming around the corner, and we prepared this whole massive like influencer combined campaign with like local like marketing pushes with like texting every single person that we knew that there's this Black Friday sale, emailing every single person that we knew. And I remember that night I went to sleep around probably 10 p.m. because we had been running that sales for like 36 hours already. And at that point we had $43,000 in the bank account.
Wow.
By the time I woke up, there's $92,000 in the bank account. I had never made money while I was sleeping in my entire life. And I'm like, I'm wrapping up everything. Like, that's it. Like, it's over. I'm not going to do professional services anymore. I could turn this into the stock market where if I post something on social media, people are going to be buying over the next hour.
Yeah.
And it was just such an amazing thing. So now you can start posting over the next 24 hours. And this is when Instagram first came out. So you're talking about posting stuff that's like fitness related, where you can use someone's body and like the beautiful aspect of like what people look like to push a product.
Yeah.
And I mean, just finding success in that made me fall in love with the idea of CPG. You take that and you add my love of design and creativity and messaging into packaging, which I love, right? I write articles about it all the time about like, you know, the difference between having a blue label versus an orange label, right? Or the difference of like something that Heinz ketchup did, right? Where they just came out with a new bottle where it shows the proper pouring angle if you hold the label the right way. And most people just don't know that, right? But to have the insight to think of designing something that way, I mean, that's just so cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. That's so, where does like, I think that's so important, like packaging something, right? Like that packaging, and it's cool because like even with NEWRICH, we spent a little time on the packaging, putting just certain thought, not as of course detailed, but putting certain thought. Where is the art in packaging? Like, is there like a certain technique? Is there?
Dude, just think what Steve Jobs did, right? When you look at Apple products, the whole experience of unboxing an iPhone. I mean, it's an experience. Right? Everyone copied it afterwards. You get a Samsung, you get a Google Pixel phone, whatever it is now, you're going to get that experience of a special type of box, certain types of inserts, stickers, like a certain like tissue opening experience. And it's just amazing, right? I remember when Shreds was popping off, dude, people were posting pictures of the cardboard box. They were so excited the products finally showed up. They would open this box, there'd be flyers inside of it. There'd be like workout guides, there'd be their actual products. And you just realize that the entire experience of ordering doesn't end once the transaction happens, right? So when you actually get the product at your house, the whole process of learning what it is, how to use it, the user guide for like a tech product or whatever it is, and then the next 30 days of actually using it. Yeah. All of that is important.
Yeah.
I remember I met some MLM guys, right? And I don't know if you've heard of this company. It's called Visalis.
Yeah, I actually have, yeah.
So now these guys, huge, right? They have like a huge protein shake. And I was shocked. They were giving me stats of the number one reason customers don't reorder. Any ideas? What do you think the issue was?
They don't know how to.
I mean, I was guessing the system was messed up. I was guessing, you know, maybe they didn't like the flavor, right? No, the number one reason people didn't reorder the product was they never opened it.
Wow.
They got it. It sat on the shelf, right? And because it was an emotional decision, like I want to lose weight, I'm gonna get this weight loss shake. But then they never actually
get the Amazon box. They see that it's the pills inside. They put it to the side.
They put it in the cabinet. They didn't even touch the bottle. So I mean, one of the things that I immediately had to figure out how to solve in my companies and startups was figuring out, okay, cool. If I got a customer that got the package, I want to have someone from my office call them, ask them if they got the package. Ask me if any questions on how to dose it, because not everyone knows how to use fitness products or anything like that. I mean, some people will like overdose on the caffeine, feel sick, and be like, okay, I don't want to take this ever again.
Yeah.
They're never going to reorder. So, I mean, there's this whole concept in e-commerce called customer lifetime value, and figuring out how to maximize that experience turns into the best customer lifetime value for anyone.
Nice. Now I feel like you were a little ahead of the gun. Like you're making online sales early on in the game. Do you feel like the industry is moving to where you have to have a heavy online presence or else you're going to be kind of left behind?
So, I mean, you read all these stats about Amazon, right? And they're talking about like 1.6 billion people are buying stuff online. And the reality is if you're not online or you don't have some type of online presence for a checkout experience, yeah, you're definitely going to have a harder time succeeding. Right. The reality, though, is I think omni-channel retail presence is where it's really at. Right. But now only the big boys could really survive that. Look at Apple.
Yeah.
You would think that everyone's buying their Apple phones from like their Verizon dealer or their T-Mobile dealer or the Apple store, what have you. Right. But when they launched their app and their online store, I mean, sales skyrocketed.
Yeah.
And they're able to provide that same experience both in person and digitally. And that's what makes them as big as they are.
Yeah, dude, I was in New York. Like I think I told you, recording some podcasts like a month ago, and my buddy was like, meet me at the Apple Store in Grand Central Station. And dude, like this thing, I'm looking the whole thing for like, where's the store, bro? The store's like in the station, like
It's beautiful,
like, bro. It's amazing, and it's just like literally like you walk up the stairs, and all of a sudden it's the store. Like it's not like it's an extra like 4x4 or like whatever blocked in. And that's when I like, that was kind of like an aha Apple moment for me, where I'm like, yo, these guys are out of control. Like,
and it's always packed.
Yeah, dude.
There's
like,
always people.
I couldn't find him
Right.
because it was so many people. I'm like, bro, I'm trying to find you. Hello, we're playing phone tag, and you know, it was cool. And like, it just showed me like, bro, they weren't even like selling there. Like he was telling me, he's like, yo, they exchanged my headphones in a matter of seconds, because like for that, it was so petty to them. Like they couldn't even deal with me. They were just like, here, take your headphones, keep going. And I was like, that's just a marketing play. Like that's just having marketing.
So fun fact, Apple stores, when they build one of them, one of the first things that they do is that they install, I think it's like 12 signal boosters. So you might not have service in the mall or the station, but when you're in that Apple store, you'll have 5 bars.
Wow.
And they'll have one for every single one of the networks, right? And more so, they're like Wi-Fi boosters and like their Wi-Fi signal extenders. I think there was some ridiculous stat that I read somewhere. They can handle 6,000 devices. It's like, you got to think about it, right? They have all that stuff that they're demoing, right? And all of them have to be on the Wi-Fi network. And then all the people that are in the store and all the people right outside the store, all of them can operate those devices without
and
a single
buying
glitch.
and purchasing at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, that whole experience, I mean, Apple really thought through every single piece of it, right? And I mean, that's why you love it, right? You're literally talking about your trip to New York, and you're not mentioning the Empire State Building. Yeah. You're not mentioning, you know, the Millennium Towers, the Freedom Towers, any of that. You're like, no, the Apple Store, man.
Yeah.
It blew me away, the Apple Store.
Dude, you got to check it out. That's funny. So I want to talk about certain brands that you've been a part of. You know, so this was the start of your career in essence, teaming up with your buddy, kind of stumbling upon, you know, this product. When did you start to shift into other products, and what have been some like big name products that you've kind of worked with or helped launch?
So I think you jump into your first product line, whatever it's going to be. Let's say it's supplements, right? That's what it was for me. And you start building a following, start building a movement. And I think at one point, like our calculation was that we had like 10 million followers that were unique across all the platforms. And we're like, wow, but like we only have 25,000 customers. Like what are all these other people doing if they're not buying the product? Then we realized everyone's not comfortable with buying supplements, right? So, okay, we got to get into other categories, because you imagine a post on Instagram. Let's say we have like a girl modeling, you know, some fitness apparel and some gear, and she's holding the product. But there's a lot of other stuff on her at that time, right? There's sneakers, there's the leggings, there's a sports bra, there's something in her hair, there's the headphones, there's the gym bag. So we started adding other products to the mix so that we could start getting after more of those people that are following us but aren't necessarily interested in the supplement aspect of it. One thing led to the next. We got into food products with like seasonings. We got into teas, coffees. We got into like fashion accessories like sunglasses, the leggings, sports bras, all that kind of stuff. And I mean, our customer base, or the percentage of people that followed us that actually bought something that we sold, just started growing drastically.
That's crazy. So now, if I remember correctly, what was like some of your successes with companies, right? I think I heard Shreds, Flavor Gods. Like, which companies did you have success with, and what do you think determined the success with those companies?
Well, how do you define success? Are we talking about exits? Are we talking about, you know, profit?
Well, monetary and growth, right? Mm-hmm. Is the visibility, I would say. And like, you know, like when I was reading, you know, we were kind of studying each other, getting ready for today. You know, I'm seeing some names, like I recognize these names. Like I don't even focus on that industry, but you know, like a Shreds or Flavor Gods or something like that. It's like, to me, it's like, oh wow, I know these brands. Wow, he was a part of this. So like, what roles do you normally play with these type of products? Like especially like a Flavor Gods or a Shreds. Like what roles did you play with these companies?
Yeah, so I mean, I had the unique ability to be there from the start, right? So from the actual product development end to the supply chain, figuring out the manufacturing relationships, the packaging, every bit of that, right? To the end messaging to the consumer, the content creation piece, the website, the logistics from shipping from the warehouse to the end consumer, all of it. I was part of every piece of these companies. I think getting back to the first question, I kind of define success by how many people were positively affected by what we did, right? A lot of people will see that something's growing and just want to hate on, the messaging or the meaning behind it. I mean, I'm sure you see in like big brands like kind of explode, right? And then there's just all these haters that come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The thing that I always thought was so crazy is as soon as you show a hater like the positive impact you've had, they immediately like disappear, right? Become a fan of what you're doing. So at the same time that we had Shreds, Flavor God, Skinny Bunny Tea, all these other brands, there was always another account that we would have, like Shreds Reviews, right? And we would literally screenshot people's like comments, reactions, their stories, and just post them here for people to see. So every time there was a hater, we would like, hey, just go check out Shreds Reviews. Wow. And like you'd see like the actual user would then comment like, oh my God, I can't believe you shared my story or whatever it was that I'm doing. And people started getting blown away. Remember at one point, Arvin and I were sitting around a table and we were just like, dude, I think there's like 150,000 documented people at this point whose lives we've changed or made better.
Wow.
I think the best part about like the products were those like customer service emails that you get. Not the ones that are like, where's my product? I ordered it at 2:00. It's 3:30. Why don't I have it yet? Yeah. Because, thank you, Jeff Bezos, for telling everyone that
Prime,
you have to have it right away, right?
Yeah.
But the emails where someone's like, dude, you don't know how much you changed my life by giving me a product I can get behind. And for some people, just dude, these stories, like I remember times I would cry reading these stories. Like a woman telling me that she was overweight, had no confidence, was going to kill herself. Found the messaging that we were putting out and the lifestyle change that we were putting out, and it changed her life. Yeah. So I think changing 150,000 people's lives, that's success.
Amen.
Right?
Amen, for sure.
And I feel like not enough people quantify their success by how many lives they change. There's like, how many dollars did I get in the bank account today? Yeah. I mean, granted, it was a very profitable business, man. Yeah. I mean, at our peak, I think we had like a 34% margin on the supplement side. And at our peak, I think our seasonings were like 48 to 52% margins. So like we did a really good job of running the business, right? Yeah. But at the same time, we didn't really care about the end profitability. We were trying to figure out how can we reach more people, how can we get another testimonial, and that's what kind of drove us.
That's awesome. Now, with everything that you have going on, and I feel like every project that you kind of get involved with, one of the good things that you're great at is building a community, building a following, and building like, kind of a fan base behind what you're doing. What advice or like what key things have you learned on building a community? I think over time, like especially talking to you, I think that's one of the things that you've done amazing is build a community to attach to those brands. How do you build a community?
So I think people get behind something when they believe in what the overall message is, right? I think there's a really good example of this. It's a company called Keto Quest. Okay. It's a supplement. They have a supplement now, but it's essentially this guy. His name is Jason Wittrick, and he came out with this whole community with his partners to help people that want to get on the keto diet. So this is like a topic that is obviously trending, but not enough people understand what's really going on with the diet. And he created like almost like a social media network where people could post recipes, stories about their transformations, just a lot of positive reinforcement of the decision to jump in and try this. I know as soon as I joined, I started getting messages from people like, dude, congratulations on making the switch. And these weren't like sales agents. These were other people in the community that were positively reinforcing me to make this switch.
That's awesome.
And I mean, like I said, the hardest part about joining a community is feeling alone. And if you could find a way to get people to not feel alone when they join the community, like having a high up reach out to the new members, right? Mm-hmm. Saying, hey, how's it going? Like, for example, at Shreds, I mean, there are literally times we just like have a call session. We'd call Joey Swole, who's one of our main athletes, into the office. Like, Joey, call these 10 customers. They just bought today. I want them to hear from you. Wow. Joey would call these people, and these people would lose their minds. I bet. Joey would FaceTime people. They would lose their minds. We would do the same thing with Paige, any one of the athletes.
That's awesome. And that connectivity, man, that's something just amazing to have, like with the brand. And I'm kind of like, somebody asked me the other day, bro, like, all right, he was like, I seen you pack out the room last month. Now, can you do it? I was questioning, is he gonna do it again? And I come and you packed out the room again. How do you think you did that? And I was like, you know what? The main different thing that I did was I connected myself to everybody. I personally was sending messages, and I also was like, I'm not gonna invite somebody that I know isn't their scene. They're not gonna get anything out of it, right? So if I know you're reading, like, I would even hit people up and like, hey man, I seen that you've been reading X, Y, and Z book recently. you're on a growth pattern. Why don't you come out to the event? I think you'll get something.
It makes sense.
Right?
Right.
And talk about win-win in the car. Like, I knew it was a win-win. I knew that if I got you there, you were going to eat what was on the table and you would probably come back for seconds. So I think that's so important now. It's like, of course, how do you do that on the scale? Is that how were you guys able to do it? Once you started scaling, how did you stay connected to your consumers as you scale with so many more people paying attention to the brand?
Dude, automation makes so much of this so easy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Look at Facebook, right? If you have a fan page right now, there's like one checkbox that says an automated response to anyone who sends you a message. So if someone messages you on Facebook on your fan page, you could reply right away, like, hey, thanks so much for messaging us. One of us is going to get back to you within the next 24 hours. We don't want you to feel like we're ignoring your message. It's just we get 10,000 of these a day, and we're going to try to get to them as fast as we can. If there's an emergency or a customer support issue, call this number.
Yeah,
right?
That's good.
And you're addressing them immediately, right? And you're able to handle the messages and what you need to do. The reality is you can't handle scale without that person-to-person connection.
Yeah.
And I feel like so many brands forget that. So, I know throughout my career in different companies, different brands, I strongly believe in having a huge customer service base, right? Right now in Pittsburgh, one of the brands that I'm supporting is a brand called About Time.
Okay.
So one of the founders of that brand, her name is Devaney Schumacher. She still to date answers every single customer service message herself.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Every customer complaint, every question about the formulations or anything, she just does it all herself. And that right there just means so much, right, to the end user that they're hearing from Devaney herself.
Yeah.
That goes so far, right?
Oh yeah.
But at the point where, let's say she was getting overwhelmed because there was like 500 to 1,000 of these coming a day, you have to get really trained people and you have to have them have that in-person engagement, right? You can't just go get a call center in India or Bangladesh or the Philippines. It just doesn't work, right? Sure, you're gonna get the most bang for your buck and in the short term with like those call centers or anything like that. But the reality is that when you have like the trained people that are actually behind the mission, you're gonna get that customer lifetime value that I referenced earlier.
Yeah.
And there's so much value in that, right? Like you messaging every single one of those people. Forget that. Like me messaging you, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, how'd your event go? Because I know you had an event. I'm sure you're like, oh wow, he's actually paying attention.
Yeah.
Like this guy's not just worried about his one podcast. Like he's investing in me. And that just makes all this that much easier.
Oh yeah, and that's to go back to relationship. Like even dealing with you, like there was a level of, okay, he's making action, he's taking action. I'm gonna mirror and match that energy. Now I want to transition a bit. We talked a little bit about successes and building a community and finding, that following and connecting with that following. Now I know we were talking off air and you've been through some transitions with the business, right? And dealt with hard times and adversity and transition.
Dun, dun, dun. Let's get to the controversial stuff.
Right. What was a time like in your career where you just felt like super lost? Like, what am I doing? Is there a moment that you could look back that it was like almost like a crashing moment? Like, because I love to talk about the successes, but I think like with NEWRICH and what I want to do is like I also want to highlight like we're gonna learn from people's mistakes, right? So like what was a time where you just like, man, like what am I doing?
Dude, I failed hundreds of times, if not thousands, on different hustles. Right, from the time I was a teenager all the way till yesterday.
Yeah,
of wanting to launch products and or services or whatever it is. And the reality is that every failure taught me something. Right, even to date, like figuring out that a failure isn't the end of the world is such a hard thing for someone to come to terms with, because some people take failure much harder than others.
Yeah.
So, for me personally, I never saw success until I saw hundreds of failures. So like I was getting cool with failure right? At this point, but I had to keep trying because I wanted to find that one thing that would finally get me over the horizon to see what's on the other side. And when you get there and you see what's on the other side and then losing everything, it's harder than you could ever imagine.
Yeah,
right?
I bet.
But you know how they have that saying, your first million was the hardest?
Yeah.
When you know how to get there and you are now like conscious that there's this other world, it's not hard to get back.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that a lot of people just don't know how to do. And we could talk about that, right? But I think the reality is that I learned from every failure.
Yeah.
And if you can't find the lesson from your failure, then you should start talking to people around you to help you find the lesson from that failure.
Yeah. Now has there been like a certain mindset, like that you've had to kind of always channel yourself back to? Like, what mindset did it take you to say, all right, I fell here, but let me get back up?
All right, I'm gonna get a little vulnerable for you. Right?
Yeah, I need that.
Man,
Come on.
most of my major failures have come with a romantic breakup.
Okay.
Right? The person I was with at that time ended up breaking up with me, or whatever happened in this scenario. So I'm talking about complete rock bottom, feeling totally alone.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Talking about these situations where you got no financial structure supporting you. You know, the person you were in love with left you. And by all means, I'm not saying that I didn't deserve some of these things that happened. I own my mistakes. Yeah. But that took me a long time to get to that.
Of course.
But dude, put yourself in the mindset of someone that doesn't know how they're gonna feed themselves that day, right? I'm not saying I was homeless, right? Like I had a car, I had a roof over my head, but my bank account was negative like $300. Thank you, Chase, $34 overdraft fees. Right? Just making my life so hard to bounce back. Dude, I remember, I had a dog, I had a live-in girlfriend, and I had no way of putting food in the fridge, right? And she was already fighting with me nonstop. I was driving Uber at night. I was sneaking out of the house, driving Uber at night while she went to sleep. So I would get $40, pay $30 for gas, and go buy groceries for $10. And those groceries, the dog was almost all the groceries, right? Getting him the food or whatever he needs. And then making sure there was like a sandwich in the fridge for her before she left for work.
Yeah.
Dude, it was rough, man. I remember not sleeping for 4 days straight and not knowing, man, like, what am I doing in my life? Like, what was all this for? Like, is this even worth it? And I'm not gonna lie, man, there's times where, you know, I was like, why am I even gonna continue? Like, what's the point? I already had it all. I lost it all. I'm never gonna get it back. But I think surrounding myself with positive people, right, took me a long time. And I was constantly surrounded by negative people, right? And the little things like the family members, friends, being like, dude, you're not shit, right? I can curse. It's like, dude, you ain't shit, dude. Right? You lost everything. Like, you were all talk. We knew you were going to lose it anyway. Man, I hated
the ones that patted your back very lightly while you were doing it, and then all of a sudden came out the woodworks, right?
Yeah, I think you said in one of your last episodes, like, everyone wants you to see you do good, just not better than them.
100%.
Right? And then when they see something like what I did, like, I came out of nowhere and it just skyrocketed.
Yeah, first they're like, oh, cool. And all of a sudden they see you get the nicer car, and it was like,
dude, it was rough. And I think it took a long time of self-discovery.
Yeah.
I literally had to move to a different state, different city, started reading, you know, because I didn't have any friends anymore, because I lost most of my friends in this situation, because you realize who's really there for you.
100%.
And the reality is, dude, I borrowed money from everyone to try and survive at that time. So, like, who am I to be calling these people to talk to them when, like, I owe these people money? Like, they don't want to talk to me.
Yeah.
And I just had to find a way to believe in myself again. And that took a long, long time. There's this question I ask first dates a lot, because I want the cheat sheet on, you know, how to woo this person. It's what does your significant other do that makes you feel loved? Right? This is deep question, right? I'm not asking what your love language is, right? I'm saying, like, no, what does the other person do that you feel like, oh wow, like, damn, this person loves me, right? Some girls would be like, you know, acts of gratitude. Some girls would be like small gestures. Some girls would be like just showing up and holding me. I'm like, cool, awesome, thanks. Give me the cheat sheet. I know how to make this happen if I want it. For the first 32 years of my life, the answer was showing up for me in moments that mattered for me. And, you know, that stems from my parents being busy and not coming to every soccer game, every debate match, or like a graduation or whatever it was. Like, I wanted people to be there when I asked them to be there. Right? That's what showed me love. I didn't care whether you fed me. I didn't care whether you put clothes on my back. Just if you showed up, that's what filled the void in my heart, right? After losing everything at the way that I did, I recently realized that it was because I didn't trust myself anymore, because I had become a shell of the man I used to be. That the only way I knew how to feel love was when someone gave me physical or verbal cues of trust, right? Like, hey, I trust you to go do this. And then that was something that I had a hard time dealing with for the past 2 years, because I had to trust myself. I had to believe that I earned that trust, or that I deserved that trust. So, I mean, I'm happy to say.
You got to be like worthy of yourself almost, right? Yeah. Like, am I worthy to even have this trust to go accomplish this mission?
I lost it in such a way that was so terrible that, like, you know, I started telling people, like, I'm not a good person, Like I hurt so many people. Sure, I've helped so many people in my life, but it doesn't matter when the number of how many people you've hurt is over that threshold. Like you can't go back.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I didn't murder anyone, but once you murder someone, you're a murderer for the rest of your life. No matter like if you're Gandhi, right? Like it is what it is. So coming to terms with the fact that I had hurt so many people was the hardest thing that I've ever had to do. And once I was able to come to terms with the fact that, okay, I made my mistakes, I'm owning my mistakes, but I'm not meant to be unsuccessful. Yeah. Right. There's too many things going on in my mind where I can find a way to do something better than the way it's happening right now. Yeah. Yeah. I have this quote where I like ask people like, what do you think entrepreneurship means? Right. People answer all sorts of weird stuff about what entrepreneurship means, but I always say that it's not only seeing and thinking that you could do something better than is currently being done, but you're having the audacity to go out and try. Yeah, yeah. That's what being an entrepreneur means to me. And when I look around and I see all these things that could be done better, I guess I just like forced myself to start and try. Yeah. Right. And that gave me confidence to just keep going. And you know, being that I've dealt with failure so many times in my life, I was hurt, right? Because I thought like, oh no, I'm a winner now, right? I can't go back to being a failure. But the first couple of projects failed miserably. Yeah. I was even in more debt than I was before from the new hustles and new projects. But fortunately, the people that decided to believe in me, believed in my character, right? Not necessarily my stance in life at that time. And they all know that I'm good for it in the long run and that everyone will be taken care of. But yeah, man, I mean, hopefully that kind of answers the question.
Yeah, right? I like it because I think that, you know, we always just paint this, we live in this IG world now, right? We live in this social media world. And I think it's cool. Like even with me, certain people come to me like, I don't realize the magnitude of it sometimes. Like I'll be out just doing something like, oh, bro, you're doing this and that. And I'm like, no, I'm not.
With great power comes great responsibility, bro.
Yeah. And it's like, and I'm learning, I'm like transitioning to learn that right now in this phase. It's like, I have to watch like certain things that I'm doing because I'm responsible, because I'm putting people in the room and I'm bringing people together and bringing speakers. But at times I don't look at it like that, right? Let's grab this water real quick. Yeah. And, cheers for you to be here, man. Thank you, man. Cheers for coming out.
And the next podcast, I'll be drinking again. Right. So by that point.
Yeah, I'm taking a hiatus from drinking too right now. So that works. But yeah, man, it's the sense of, you know, like we live in the social media world where everything looks amazing, right? And I like to pride myself on talking about these certain things sometimes because it gives people like you said earlier, it gives people we're not alone, right? And everybody thinks we're going through these things alone, and it's like, no, there's 10,000 people dealing with what you're going with. And with NEWRICH, it's like, yeah, it's dope to do amazing things and live a certain lifestyle, but you have to be rich in the inside and happy with what you're doing. So that's super cool that you opened up to the NEWRICH community about everything that you have going on. Do you believe in manifestation?
Dude, that's a loaded question.
All right. So like, do you believe in
like putting something out there in the universe and then it happening?
Yeah. Like, well, I think it's a combination of things. Like to me, manifestation is when thoughts become things. So it's like it's a component of it, thinking it through. Yeah, there's an action behind. There's a certain point of action. So it's like a mix in with auto-suggestion, thoughts become things, and action.
Hell yeah. I believe in manifesting.
All right.
I mean, I'm the type of person where it's like, I don't necessarily meditate or anything. Yeah. I don't stare at the mirror. I'm like, dude, you're the man. You can do this. I've never needed to do any of that. You got this, right? Though, just by the way. But I'm the kind of guy that's like, listen, I'm going to go do this. Yeah. And if I put it out there in the universe and I'm going to go do that, I'm gonna go do it. Yeah. Right. I've said it. Yeah. The seed's been planted. Mm-hmm. And interesting enough, my name in Hindi and Sanskrit means sprout. The moment a seed sprouts and breaks like the ground. I mean, I hated the meaning of my name growing up, but like it's actually
that's dope now. Like especially like for me, I'm super like philosophical. Like I like that. I would definitely. That's cool.
I believe in the idea of planting a seed in someone's mind. It's gonna be there forever, right? And if you're able to successfully plant an idea and then bring it into the world, that's just awesome.
Yeah, watch it sprout, right? Like I think that for me recently with seeing everything grow, leadership talks, the podcast, it's like, whoa, okay, like watered it enough to get it there. So Ankur, man, you doing a lot of amazing things. What is there to look forward from you, man? I know certain things we can't talk about, but certain things we can talk about. What is there to look forward from you, man? I know you're working on a lot of cool projects. What is something that we should pay attention for? And what is your mission and goal here in the next couple of years with what you're doing?
Okay, so if I'm finally starting to feel myself again, right? I'm getting some confidence back. I'm starting to do photo shoots again, helping out my Tinder profile.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Bumble, catch me on Bumble, ladies.
What I need to do is figure out how to best move the needle again.
Yeah.
And I sat myself down
snaps.
and I did one of those like whiteboard write-ups and like all the different things I could do. What I realized is that something I even think the NEWRICH community is going to benefit from is that there's no one out there giving people the answer to the actual question that they're asking, right? Let's say someone's like, hey, I want to start my own business. Like, what's the first thing I should do? You could read textbooks and you could read all these things and you could go on LegalZoom and try to figure out what contract you need or what have you. But people don't actually understand the steps that it takes to do this the right way.
Yeah.
For example, in the state of Florida, do you know what it costs to register an LLC?
Correct. I don't.
Yeah, most people don't.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to go on LegalZoom or they're going to hire an attorney. They're going to pay $1,200 to $1,500 for something that they could do for $80. $80 is what it actually costs to register an LLC in the state. It's crazy that people just don't know that.
100%.
Things like people don't know why they need an EIN. People don't know how to get a UPC registered if you want to actually buy a product. They're going to some random website, buying some UPC for $5. When they try to sell their product on Amazon, Amazon's like, nah, this ain't a real UPC. Like, they're not moving forward. And they're like, well, we just bought 5,000 units. What are we going to do with all these incorrectly labeled products? At the end of the day, I think that I could provide answers to the questions that everyone has.
Nice.
And I think I'm setting myself out on a mission through my YouTube channel, through the podcast that I'm part of, to just straight up answer the tough questions, right? The stuff that you're not going to get from listening to Gary Vee tell you that, go hustle. Right? What does that mean to the end user? It doesn't answer the question, right? Someone wants to know, like, how do I write an operating agreement? What are the things I should look for? How do I negotiate my first international deal with like a customer in Dubai? How do I avoid someone stealing my idea and like a trademark when, it's so easy to do a workaround with like a couple of changes of like spellings or pronunciation? These are things that people need to know the answer to.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Harvard Business Review put out a stat that said 98% of businesses fail in their first year.
Yep.
98. So the 9-to-5ers who aren't making the world a better place, I mean, unless, your company's all about that, but most 9-to-5ers are just, bees moving around in the swarm, aren't the ones making the world better. These entrepreneurs that are trying to change the world, do something better than it's been before, no one's supporting them.
Yeah.
Right? So everyone thinks that they're doing well. But the reality is that you're probably going to fail.
Yeah.
And you're going to fail because you didn't have the experience, or you didn't have a mentor, or you didn't have the knowledge of how to actually do this. Because I didn't learn anything that I'm currently doing in school.
Oh, 100%.
Right? Now, okay, I'm lying about a couple of things. In my college freshman orientation, they let me sit in a logistics 101 class, and I learned how trucking works, right? But I didn't really understand how many trucks go back across the United States every day.
Yeah.
And then when I started having to deal with manufacturers in different parts of the country, like I knew how the logistics system works. So I learned that in school. Everything else was me applying stuff from television I learned when I was a kid, right? Or me applying stuff from when I was a DJ or promoter at nightclubs. Or any one of those 100 things that I failed in and I learned some lesson at.
Yeah.
But like people just don't have that experience, right? I was blessed.
The hands-on. We move away from, like that hands-on. It's funny, I was doing a speech the other day and I'm here like making my presentation. And when I get to like the who is Ryan Plaza credential type of thing, side of it, I'm like, I ain't good. I'm not gonna lie. No, I didn't go to no college. And I did a few semesters. I got 40% of a restaurant at the time. I thought I was gonna be a millionaire. We failed in like 9 months. But that was like my intro. And when I was thinking about it, it's funny because I shifted my whole talk after this thought. And it was, I went to the NEWRICH Academy, right? And I bought the domain name, the NEWRICHacademy.com after that. And I was like, what is the NEWRICH Academy? The NEWRICH Academy is, the specialized knowledge, the things that I've picked up over time, the mentorships, the hands-on experience is really what taught me to be here, man. And I think sometimes we get away from that. We get away from the hands-on knowledge. We also get away from who we are as a person from over the years trying to be somebody else. But yeah, man, I think that it's very important to be, taking those skills and using it today. So this part of the show, man, what I do at this part of the show is I ask you just like 4 quick questions. I start the question and you'll finish it. The first one is, when I was younger,
Yes.
I love.
My answer is yes.
No. Yeah,
I'm in.
It's an open question.
Okay.
It's an open question. When I was younger, I loved.
Dollar pizza in New York City.
How close did you live to New York City?
I was in LIC. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Queens?
But I'm saying like in Queens, you were pretty close to like Manhattan area.
Oh, dude, I wasn't allowed to go to Manhattan at that point. Right?
Okay.
My mom I would steal 50 cents. Actually, it was quarter pizza back then. I'm losing my mind. It was 25-cent pizza. I would steal a quarter from my mom's purse, run downstairs, grab the slice of pizza, run back upstairs before she would even notice. That was life.
And eat it up. And
that was life.
That was big time, right? And it's funny that you talk about your mother. The second question is, my mother always told me,
if you're going to do something, do it with your entire heart and know that it's like something you can stand behind.
Nice.
Shout out Mama Garg.
Right? Mama Garg. Was she pretty good quotable? Was she always quote, like, she very quote worthy?
Oh, dude, I quote her on a regular basis, man.
Yeah.
That woman was one smart woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I came home from college once and there was a Post-it note on the kitchen counter. It was like, if you mess up my kitchen, I will cut you. It was the most liked post on my Facebook ever to date. I think I had like 1,200 likes.
So, she don't play that.
Yo, she don't play.
She don't play that. That's funny, man.
Ethnic moms, man.
Oh yeah. Nah, they're a whole different breed. So I made a post this week. My mom wasn't answering me because she has like certain health issues. When she knows she's not taking care of her health issues, she won't pick up my calls because she know I'm gonna give her the yell down. So I'm like, it's funny. It's like the tables have changed now. Like I'm calling her up. And I'm about to yell at her, and she don't pick up the phone. I was like, I was like, it's changed. But back then, I knew better. I would answer the phone though, when she was calling to yell at me. My favorite color is
blue. Giants blue.
Giants blue.
Yeah,
like
it's
New York
hurtful.
Giants?
It's hurtful to my soul to be a Giants fan right now. But Giants blue.
And when I asked that, like, I know that you're into coloring and with packaging and all that. So have you ever used that blue in any of your packaging?
Most of my personal branding is Giants blue.
For real?
I didn't actually know why, but now I know why now that you asked that question. But I think when I design, I have like a silhouette in my mind and it just comes to life and then I just put it on paper.
How important are colors?
It's everything.
That's good.
There's a whole psychology of color, right? Like, why is McDonald's like the yellow and red, right? Those are the 2 colors that make you feel hungry.
Yeah,
just the truth.
Stop, yeah.
Right? There's a reason and a psychology behind these colors and how you emotionally connect to them. And when it comes to packaging, it's everything.
That's dope. My first car was
a metallic purple Honda Civic.
Metallic purple.
We called it Purple Hotness.
Purple Hotness.
Oh, man, dude. We used to steal the car in the middle of the night and drive down to AC. Because we were all Indian kids, right? So we had mustaches and all that. So that we wouldn't get carded. I think I was 15. Right, and I'd walk into no hold'em tables, and we'd be playing poker for the 3 hours. We'd drive right back in the Purple Hotness.
Dang.
My mom says she knows, but she didn't know.
She didn't know.
Now I can like tell people about it. Like, she can't beat me anymore. I'm big and strong.
What is that? What is that like when it comes to like laws? Like after a certain amount of time, they can't convict you.
The statute of limitations.
Yeah. So statute of limitation. Mama can't come for the whooping no more.
Yeah, now I can bench press 300 pounds.
No more.
She get emotionally damaged. She's like, I don't trust you anymore. And then she hits me.
What do you
language
mean?
of love.
Do you remember that feeling that like of your first car, like when you got it? Do you remember
the feeling of freedom?
Yeah.
It's like when a dog gets left off the leash and it's like freedom. Just running around. That was me.
Were your parents strict? I don't know, like certain
So my parents were very unique, right? They let me take control of the family at like the age of 4. Right, we'd go on like family trips and stuff, and my parents would just let me take lead, plan the itineraries, walk around, and I'd just be like, the person in the front. So were they strict in like what I could or couldn't do? No, like I didn't have like a bedtime or I didn't have like a curfew or anything. They just held me to a high expectation of not messing up.
Okay.
I let them down, left and right. Right?
Always.
Getting in trouble at school, getting in trouble with girls, getting caught with stuff I shouldn't have been caught with. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think them taking that approach kind of made me the leader that I am today, right? Because I'm not afraid to take risks. And I don't take risks that are going to destroy anyone's lives or anything, right? So
what is your leadership style?
So I believe in giving people autonomy, right, over decision making, but I believe in giving them set KPIs that they need to meet, right? So right now I have
KPIs, for people that don't know what KPIs is.
Key performance indices, right? So let's say that like I have an employee that reports to me and their job is to make 10 designs a week. As long as they're making 10 designs a week, I don't care whether they're in the office, working from home, or whatever. Right?
Yeah.
If they're meeting their requirement, I'm good, right? Now the reality is that if they don't know how to meet that requirement, that's on me, right? Mm-hmm. It's my job to train them on how to do it. Now, once they're trained and they're not meeting it, I just cut them.
Yeah.
That's just the way I feel like it has to be, right? Because if you're not meeting it after the training, then like that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then if they are meeting it, then like I don't care what they do. Like I don't care if they're taking 2-hour lunch breaks. I don't care if they don't even show up to the office. As long as you respond to my emails within an hour during work hours, I don't care where you are.
That's dope. That's dope. Has there ever been any like leadership traits that you've had that maybe like drawing people away from you that you have to correct over time?
That's a good question. Okay, so things that made people not want to follow me that I had to change.
Yeah, because sometimes like what I'm learning sometimes, like you think you're doing the right things, but people respond differently, or people don't get motivated by certain things.
I guess I've always expected people to be as passionate about the mission as I am.
That's good.
But sometimes I had to come to terms with the fact that people can't get passionate about the mission until they've seen it, right? You know that scene in like This Is Us where Randall takes the kid to his neighborhood?
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, yeah, I grew up on the streets just like you. Mm-hmm. And now all of a sudden it hits home. Like, okay, wow, this guy isn't just all talk, isn't just some rich kid, who's in this nice big fancy house in Jersey trying to raise me. So like with staff, if like I'm saying, hey, listen, like I want to change lives. I want these people to lose weight, or I want to, sell 1,000 bottles this month. They need to understand why. Yeah. Right. And if they understand why you're driven to hit the finish line, they all start following.
I agree. So I was talking to somebody after the event Thursday, and I was like, the dopest thing for me was, I had my partner, my cousin for NEWRICH with me. And I had him set up the merch table and do all of that. I was like, one of the dopest things for me was that we sold merch, because it was like for him to see that, and I had him run the merch table, and it was more cool for me to see him see it, right? Because now I know that I could get him to work more behind the mission and what we're doing, because, he's seeing it. He's seeing we're actually doing sales, people responding to the product. So I love that you say that, man. We're coming to an end, man, but I feel like, I don't want to leave anything off the table, man. Has there something that we haven't hit, or, anything that you want to share last minute with the people, man?
Hey, man, where's my NEWRICH merch kit?
Right.
I mean, I saw you post about some stuff, right? Like a journal, right? Like you got this, right?
Yeah.
So I saw some shirts, some dope logos that you have going on.
Yeah, man. So for you guys know, we're on the BeNewRich.com. Check us out, man. We have the merch up there. It's super awesome. Thank you, everybody, for supporting. We did some nice sales at the leadership talk. So that was awesome too, man.
Listen, man, if there's anyone out there that's listening that needs advice on their business, I would be more than happy to give you advice for free.
All right.
Just message me. Right? I'll answer any question that they have. It's Ankur K. Garg, ANKURKGARG is my handle on every platform. All right. Doesn't matter what it is, even Tinder.
Right.
And, I got you.
Yeah, nice. And bro, just from talking to you, I've learned a lot. You're very detailed, man. I'll give you that. And, you're super knowledgeable, man, just from our conversation. So everybody reach out to him. I know you have a lot of amazing projects, so make sure that you follow him and just keep an eye on and see what he has going on. Is there any other things that they should be paying attention to?
Yeah, man. For those of you that follow Ryan Plaza, I want you to know that I'm very upset with him. His phone book still doesn't even have my name saved in it. I'm just a number.
I was going to tell you in the car, by the way. I have a rule.
You're treating me like a straight up thought. Pick me up from the airport, give me some food.
Yeah, the funny part is he was so mad. And listen,
we need to fix this.
I gave him my phone, right? I gave him my phone when we were in the car, and I gave him my phone to check something and download some file. And he did not like that. But bro, I have a rule. Honestly, I have a rule. And I'll go and I'll show you like somebody else's phone number, like two messages behind you that I don't have saved. There's a certain like time frame that I keep you not saved in my phone for some reason. And we only been texting for like a couple texts, right?
Listen, this is a terrible rule.
No, listen. So after
when someone
now
crosses state lines, their name needs to be in your phone.
But that's the thing. Like, all right, now I picked you up from the airport. Now it's like, all right, cool. Now you get in the phone book, but not everybody can just get in the phone book, man.
Everyone in the audience, this is one tough man to please.
Like, listen, man. Listen. We got you in the phone book now. I don't even label you the Pittsburgh guy, man. Don't worry.
He's in my phone as Mr. NEWRICH.
I like that, man. I like that. Now, but I really do appreciate you coming out, just learning from you on and off set today too. My man, make sure I feel like we're in a production right now, man. We have like 4 cameras. I think I need to like make a video of this right now. We literally have 4 cameras.
You didn't even post this to the gram yet?
I have not posted this on the gram. So while we're actually live on the podcast right now and on IG, my guys. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 cameras going. And shout out to our production guy right here, Ariel. So we're live on the podcast. Those of you guys that are listening, you will check this out.
We got to shout out Einstein.
Einstein, man. He's been quiet. My man, Einstein the pup has been on set. I love Einstein. And you know why I named my dog that Einstein? It's like so I can have Einstein around me. Like, dude, what you do? I just chill with Einstein on the couch. Like, what do you mean chill with Einstein on the couch? So, that's my guy. And guys, for listening, man, I really appreciate everybody. Like I've been telling people recently, you hope for support. You put good energy out in the community and you do awesome things, and that's what you hope for, right? With me, there's never this level of expectancy. That's one of my maturities, I think, now is like I don't expect things from people. So I just want to say thank you to the NEWRICH community. You guys have been supporting, whether it's with the merch, whether it's sharing the podcast, whether it's coming to the live events. So I appreciate that. And Ankur, again, man, thank you for flying in, man. It's like I picked you up from the airport. Now we had some good breakfast. We got on set. And it's dope, man. And I think that the lesson for everybody listening is when you want something, man, go get it. Go chase after it. Go get on the plane. Go put yourself inside of that community and get yourself around it. Nobody is going to want things for you as bad as you want things for you. And I think that's so important. It's making those decisions. It's investing. I talked about this with Leadership Talks. My food sponsor backed out of Leadership Talks the other day. I went out and I bought the food. Like nobody sees these things, right? Everybody's like, oh, comes to the event. They see the food. They see everything all set up. They don't see that it costs $10 here, $20 here, $30 there, and then $100 worth of food. But that's the level of commitment that if you see your vision and you put that energy behind you, then everybody else is going to put that energy behind themselves and you. So NEWRICH community, thank you guys for checking in. Make sure you check out the site, benewrich.com, and everything else that we have going on at Ankur. Thank you again. Say bye to the people, man. Let them know what's up.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the podcast, man. I can't wait to share the link with everyone. And like I said, if anyone has any questions, just DM me. Slide right on in.
Slide up in the DMs. Cha-cha slide in the DMs. We're signing out again. Thank you for checking out the NEWRICH podcast.
NEWRICH!